Hello, folks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Love. It's been some week as far as pro wrestling, but as WrestleMania was past weekend, I was able to finally get up a review sometime. I believe it was either Monday or Tuesday, but either way, I was able to get. And then we get to AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, which we'll get into. So, I'm not going to do a full-fledged review, but nonetheless, here to certainly talk about AEW Dynamite. So, on my review for WrestleMania, I touted, this is the reason why I love and hate pro wrestling. Wednesday, so last week, before WrestleMania, on WrestleMania week, CM Punk had an interview on the MMA Hour with Aaron Helwani, and most notably, because it transpired for Wednesday, that CM Punk talked about a little bit about what he talked about in another video, but what he did talk about was his exit from AEW and his last night being all in or at All In in fall last year, in which it was Wembley, 80,000 roughly people in attendance, and the situation with Jack Perry and the fight, and just how it was exited. So what sucks is that was the big part of Wednesday. So it prompted, now, again, CM Punk said positives outweighed the negatives during his time at AEW. But that video or that interview prompted an interview with Cody Rhodes, in which Cody Rhodes had nothing but good things to say about AEW, and then Josh Barnett, who also wrestled a match in AEW. But the thing what stuck out AEW was what CM Punk said. Now, again, I reiterate, it's not so much how... Anyway, so the big thing was on Wednesday, they revealed the footage of what happened at Wembley in said incident, where CM Punk, before his match, opening main card match with Samoa Joe, said that he had a scuffle with, or said that he had a little bit or minor altercation with Jack Perry, and then he went, well, he said that he didn't advance or go after Tony Khan. He did call him a clown and call this shit show, what have you, and there's that. So, but we'll talk about the footage, because that's the sucky thing. It was, now, besides Will Ospreay seemingly firing back after WWE seemingly took shots at Will Ospreay, seemingly, allegedly, took shots over WrestleMania weekend because he signed with AEW instead of WWE. But yeah, it sucks that they not, really have anything lined up besides those two things. Now, I'm not saying that it was a bad show. It was okay. But it's kind of annoying how they had a very good 3-show stretch where it's like back for AEW, and then, we're on a couple of weird string. We're in a weird string now. But, so, the footage for AEW Dynamite. So, it was a promo by the Bucks. They were backstage, and they were talking about FTR and a certain individual, and they talked about the scapegoat again, Jack Perry, which makes me think he's getting closer and closer to being back for AEW. So that's my thinking. But as far as the footage, so showed it. So it's getting built up, and I don't know, I guess we were expecting it to be more. I mean, I kind of feel like I've been in fights more bigger than this. Again, we only saw this one particular angle. So they showed at the back. So and of course, CM Punk said that Samoa Joe and someone else had to come back in his locker room and convince him to come out to do the match with Samoa Joe, and there was that. So, footage. So, they were shown backstage. So, CM Punk came up to Jack Perry. Now, there was no audio. It was just, visual. So, showed backstage. So, CM Punk went up to Jack Perry. Jack Perry Now, on the 0 Hour, the pre-show, Jack Perry had a solid match, first hook for the FTW title, and of course, most notable incident was there was a limo. Perry said, "Real glass, cry me a river," and got choke or suplex back first on the windshield. So the incident. So backstage, it looked like Samoa Joe warming up. He was off in the corner. There was looked like Tony Khan was in garage. It looked like, just like Aubrey. It looked like she was with the rev. Some of the revs, they were going over whatever jazz. Anyway, so CM Punk and Jack Perry were talking, and then Jack Perry was fixing his hair, and looked like Punk went at him. Now, I'm not sure. Could have been a punch, could have been a push. Nonetheless, it looked like Punk was grabbing at Perry. Obviously something was said or that jazz, and people were admitted to pull them apart. Referees, Samoa Joe, etc. Officials, and CM Punk. Now, I will say, it looked like CM Punk went at Tony Khan, and, certainly perhaps got in his face or something. That's just speculation. And Punk gave a sign, and it looked primarily accurate with what he said. And, either way, the footage basically prompted a promo by FTR, and there was that, because we're going to get FTR versus Young Bucks again at Dynasty for the vacant AEW Tag Team titles. The footage now, if we got the footage before Punk was in WWE, it felt like a different story. But now, with kind of after that interview, it just sucks, because you just want to enjoy both two good products, and it's like after WrestleMania, this very good story. Now, I'm not saying Raw after WrestleMania was great, but it was certainly better vibe to how Dynamite was on Wednesday. And nonetheless, footage was aired. Idiots out there, no matter what, you can't enjoy both. There's one defending both narrative. Either way, footage was out, and is Aye. Any events, well, Tony Khan, this is just my assumption, perhaps Tony Khan was felt that he may have been, the perception was he was a liar, because he did say he feared for his life. Now I'm not sure what. We didn't see exactly what happened. It just looked like Punk may have gotten in Tony Khan's face, or that jazz. But either way, look, footage was out. Yeah, look. But it sucked just having to see. And now if it was bigger, more escalated, where Punk looked like he more have lied about the situation, then obviously the reaction would be different. But nonetheless, happened. Is what it is. It sucks. So let's talk about Russ card. So the show started off. It was supposed to be Samoa Joe versus Dustin Rhodes in a world title eliminator match. If you can already tell that, nothing else was being really built of significance on the show. No offense to Dustin. I always enjoy watching him wrestle, as well as Joe, but there's certainly a feeling. So, anyway, so Joe was coming out, and then he got blindsided, attacked by Swerve, because obviously the main event for Dynasty will be Swerve versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World title. And Swerve attacked Joe and drove him through a table in near the stage area. So there's that. But yeah, prompted that. And the concession going around, or the assumption going around, was that, okay, well, make this into an angle, and perhaps don't have to have Dustin for Samoa Joe on this card. So it's like, okay. Then we move into Penta versus Adam Copeland, which, albeit was a fine, solid match between the two for the TNT Championship, but coming off the Cope Open with Matt Cardona, and then coming to this, albeit it's an intriguing match, first time match with Copeland and Penta, it definitely felt not as exciting when it came to the build-up as the match was being built. But again, solid match, and culminated with a spear by Copeland for the win. He retained the TNT Championship versus Penta, and it worked. It worked for a match, albeit. And then we had line hook backs. I don't know why I'm saying the same, but Chris Jericho, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata, they were all backstage prior for their trios match against Shane Taylor Promotions. Again, reiterating that, feeling about Dynamite. So, apparently on Collision, when Jericho and Hook team versus Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, Anthony Ogogo, who I have not seen in a minute, had knocked out Jericho. So then prompting for a trios match, Hook and Jericho and Shibata versus those three. Which, I mean, Ospreay, Shibata made sense. People don't want to be seeing Hook teaming now with Jericho. And Ring of Honor talent on AEW, that's just an easy way of saying that the excitement about this match was not really there. So they went over a game plan backstage, and then Jericho left, and then Shibata with his, phone translation, what's his problem? And then after they all fist bumped, and then Hook's like, I'll take care of it, and then Shibata's like, I like your necklace, him being Renee. So there we go. By the way, so after the Copeland Penta match, Copeland got attacked. I like this at least by Julie Hart and Brody King, and he got saved by Will. And of course we know Willow is going to fight Julia at the pay-per-view. We know Copeland's going to be fighting with, House Black, along with Mark Briscoe and A. Kingston. So they came to this segment and they were all present, Briscoe, Kingston, Stokely, Copeland, Will, they were all backstage. And yeah, so it's funny because Copeland kind of ignored Willow, in being that Willow challenge for next week, a tag team match where it would be her and Copeland versus Brody and Julia tag team match, and Copeland kind of just reiterated the same thing. So called the trio a unique name. Ray Chicken Hawks or something. But their faces were hilarious. Anyways, Stokely said something to Eddie, and yeah, there was that. Because, yeah, by the way, over the weekend, Mark Briscoe beat Eddie Kingston to become the Ring of Honor World Champion. Apparently, it was 13 years after Jay Briscoe won his first Ring of Honor World title. So, kudos to Mark. Kudos to Mark. Young Bucks had the footage basically saying that talking about FTR being the ones conspiring for this to happen, and said it did not allow them to pray for their match out, and then for All In. So they certainly tied it together for why FTR and the footage, I guess in their words, makes sense to be airing it now. Anyway, they rolled the footage, and then Young Bucks said, well, All In, FTR, you offered to shake our hands, saying that at Dynasty, then they won't be shaking no hands, FTR. So then FTR came out, cut a passionate promo talking about, Young Bucks laying the foundation, this and that, but they'll be ones to knock that brick roof off, etc. FTR, promos are great and should be a fun match at Dynasty, but no way do I see how FTR wins at Dynasty. It just does not seem plausible right now. So, excuse me. So, Will Ospreay. And this was, depending who you are, probably was the second best thing on the show. Or most noteworthy besides the footage of All In. So Will Ospreay. There is a number of indirect shots being taken at Ospreay over the weekend by people from WWE, and we get Ospreay. One thing Triple H said, now of course he didn't say will, but with what we were hearing, because Ospreay got the attendance number tattooed on him, talked about an innuendo to that. They talked about, Ospreay made mention about, why he signed with AEW instead, in being that, schedule and, still living in the UK before his missus and the parents, etc. So, and then, Triple H was on Pat McAfee's thing, telling him, basically, if you're afraid of the grind and working less states and all, then I'm glad I don't want you here. That's the kind of person I don't want here. So Ospreay came out and said, well, he was with Renee, and first thing he said was he's been hearing the promo that he's afraid of the grind. And he said he doesn't know where that's coming from because he's one of those people that one of the people who travel week in, week out from the UK to the US and vice versa. And he's also telling, well, for weeks that he's been putting some of the best matches day in and day out. And said, well, he finds it funny that the person who said this about him was that he's only in the reason he's in because he was grinding on the boss's daughter. And Renee definitely felt kind of comfortable there, but yeah. So Ospreay said it was a switch jab back for someone. Do not throw stones when an assassin with a machine gun. So we talked about Bryan Danielson coming up, and that being so. Saying that, well, he's stronger than him, which is true, and being Bryan, which is true, he's bigger than him, he's faster than him, and is younger than him. So he's basically saying that in order for him to win, you have to ground the aerial assassin. And he said, well, bigger men than Bryan have tried and failed. Younger men have tried and failed. Better men than Bryan have failed. But yet, you are Bryan Danielson. And talked about he cannot call himself the best wrestler in the world till after Dynasty. Saying that these great people come in, week out to see the best wrestlers, and this is AEW where the best wrestle. And saying at Dynasty, see Bryan Danielson And you'll see Will Ospreay. You'll see why he's on another level. I mean, clearly we know it's going to be an amazing match. Really is going to be a joy to see at Dynasty. Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay. There's that. Yeah. So we got Lion Hook and Shibata versus Shane Taylor Promotions and Anthony Ogogo. Ay. So this match, ay. So there was a dissension between Hook and Jericho, and Lee Moriarty pinned Shibata here, and I mean, yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Dustin Rhodes is backstage and reiterated that the match will happen between him and between him and Samoa Joe. So, Okada was in a jobber match. Fine. Although it sucks because if there's one thing you did not want to see was Okada or Ospreay or Mercedes even to be wrestling in jobber matches, right? And alright, it's Kyle one here, Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, he did announce that he accepts Pac's challenge for Dynasty, which prompted the Bastard to come out. That'll be a great match for Dynasty. Pac versus Okada for the Continental Crown. Yeah, I won't admit that's good, but so then Pac made his way known, and then he was attacked by the Young Bucks, who did say some CM Punk chants, and yeah. Mariah May versus Anna Jay. So this was after a short thing between Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm, and Deonna Purrazzo tried to save. Anyway, so what happened afterwards? So Mariah won, and Mina Sharakawa, I believe that's his name. She was with, I think she was with Mariah and Toni Storm when they made their returns to Stardom, because a couple are leaving. So yeah. Afterwards, Mina apparently, after Mariah was getting attacked, she gave Mariah a drink and a kiss, and sadly, that was enough to make do for what was a okay Dynamite and this footage, which, people are gonna latch onto and have different opinions about when it comes to All In, that footage and their perception of AEW. So, yeah. Any events. So, Samoa Joe versus Dustin. Thought this match here. Samoa Joe doesn't need to use a belt shot, though, to beat Dustin Rhodes. Dustin was busted up. He did try to use the belt. And yeah, but referee was distracted. Belt shot by Joe. 1, 2, 3. Joe wins. And after, so there was the chain. Swerve got possession of his chain and clocked Samoa Joe, and then finished the dominant was as Joe is being helped up looking back as they are separated by officials. Swerve's in the ring holding up the AEW title as dancing. So yeah. Dynamite, besides the footage, was okay. As far as footage, it's whatever. Anyways, guys, thank you all. Be safe. I made Joe Tool up. See you guys next time. So like, subscribe. Thank you. Peace.